Welcome, everyone, to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, the sports podcast that covers everything controversial and what's going on in the world of sports. I'm your host, TJ, and with me again, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame in his game because he is always the same.
That's me.
Grump, how are you?
Wonderful.
What are you doing over there?
I got the blazing light at me already.
You got that blinding light on your face?
Pounding me right now. Pounding me.
Look at that. You're taking a step forward in production value, Grump. You should be happy about that.
I don't care about – I'm going to have to start wearing – I should have got my sunglasses today.
Sunglasses, Grump. That kind of defeats the point. People want to be able to see your purty face.
Whatever.
Oh, looky there, Grump. Looky there. Well, a lot happened this week in sports, Grump. That is for certain. You adjusting shit all over the place over there, Grumpy. Man, oh man, I'm prepared.
Yeah, because then you complain you can't hear me. You know, you always complain about something.
Oh, looky there. Go ahead and a little bait and switch. Flip it on us. I see how it is, Grump.
It's the truth.
That being said, I figure I would start off the podcast. I'll let you go ahead and take your little round of applause, Grumpy Old Man. Take your little round of applause. You go ahead and grab that because, yes, Tom Brady returning back to Foxborough was the highest rated television event for the NFL in the regular season. What was it? Highest rated Sunday night football game in 18 years or some crazy amount of time or something like that, Grumpy.
And it was the highest rated NFL regular season game of any kind since 2015. But I told you that was going to happen. And it wasn't honestly, I mean, it was a close game, but it wasn't a great game. The weather was miserable. But it was all about seeing Brady and Belichick and what was going to happen with them. That's what the whole thing was about.
I was about to say, it honestly didn't disappoint, right? Yeah, if you would have gone to the rain was miserable, but I mean, if you would have gone in with expectations, thinking, hey, this is going to go right down to the wire on a last second field goal attempt, a last second whatever 50 something plus yard field goal attempt. Hey, you got your money's worth, that's for certain. You got your time's worth, that's for certain.
56 yards.
56-yard field goal attempt right off
the upright.
The upright. Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh, well.
Man, now, Grumpy, did you happen to see some of that transpiring on the field regarding Steve Belichick, Bill's son? Did you happen to see he happened to be going viral on the internet? Did you see the reasons why, Grump?
Is it because I don't know? It's not the mullet. It was something else he was doing. He's making some type of face, wasn't he?
Even in the grumpy old man's world, he is aware of what was happening there with the facial reactions of Steve Belichick. I'll let you go ahead and see this grumpy old man. You talk about a guy who looks like an absolute maniac out there.
Maybe it's a signal.
No, it's not a signal. Oh,
I think it's called the Marchant. That's what the signal is.
What the hell's the Marchant?
You know, it looks like he's going to maybe getting ready to lick something like Leo Komarov. So maybe they'll just call it the Marchant. That's the signal. So maybe that's what it stands for. Run the Marchant.
Oh, man. Trying to take a little Brad Marchant. I like that. Oh, but dude,
let's be honest. The only reason he even has a job is because his dad runs the team.
Yeah, you want to talk about a guy who is, yikes, I would say less than adequate. Here's the thing, right? I'm not going to take jabs at Bill. Bill's an excellent coach. As we said, more of the clay rather than the sculptor regarding the Tom Brady-Bill Belichick relationship. But, yeah, Steve Belichick is a prime example of the hands you shake get you a job, not necessarily the merits.
It's the nepotism in the NFL.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
It's all over the place. It's not the only location.
No, it happens all across professional sports. I mean, it happened with the Kiffins too. That's for certain. I mean, that one right there, Grumpy. I saw that, and I just think to myself, I'm like, obviously, right? The cameraman's kind of looking for this. You'd think, right? Because this is. I'm sorry. I've watched a lot of football games. I coached briefly. I played. Never once did I ever have facial reactions or did I intimate items like this on the field. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it, Grump.
Well, I think it's really just because they wound up seeing that, they were looking at Bill or whatever, and then they just said, "What the heck's going on over here?" But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen from now on. Guaranteed, they're going to have a camera on him every week now.
I was about to say he's made
I just can't
himself.
believe. I just can't believe he still wears a mullet. I mean, come on. I used to wear a mullet.
You don't like the mullet action, Grump?
Well, I used to wear it in the 1980s. I mean, this is 2021.
I was about to say, Grump. I don't know if you can grow
I'm not
mullet
growing a
now.
mullet now. You don't see me wearing a mullet now.
Grump, I think the fans and the listeners of the show want to see that. They want to see the mullet, Grump. That's requested.
I could break out a picture where I had the mullet.
Oh, good.
I'd have to find it though.
Oh, we'll have to give you that homework assignment. Before we get too much into the podcast, though, the best way to show your support for this podcast is by subscribing on YouTube. Pertinent, very important, ladies and gentlemen, by subscribing on YouTube, liking on Facebook, and following on Twitter. See, Grumpy, I didn't go the entire podcast without promoting it and telling people to subscribe. Look, I'm getting better. What can I say?
You realize you're supposed to announce that as soon as it starts. As soon as it starts, even before you introduce me, you're supposed to say, "Hey,
how am I supposed to do it?
Blah, blah, blah.
How am I supposed to do it, huh, Grump?
You're supposed to say, "Hello, this is Goofball TJ and the Grumpy Old Man podcast. If you like what we do, you're supposed to smash the like button, whatever all those buttons you're supposed to hit that I know nothing about. You're supposed to hit them and do the introduction. That's what you're supposed to do. Or do the introduction and then say, hit the buttons."
Oh, looky there, Grumpy. Looky there. Alexander chimed in and said, "Hey, Grump, TJ, how are you guys? Doing well, Alexander. How about yourself?"
Wonderful, Alexander. I feel bad for Alexander. Being a Mets fan, his coach is gone. Being a Dolphins fan, his quarterback is gone. Going to be 1-4 after this week. Being an Islander fan, tonight's game was canceled because of lack of offensive power.
Well, Alexander said, it looks like the Devils just forgot to pay their electric bill.
Very possible. Very possible. I was going to say because both teams don't have much offense that,
Oh man, Grumpy. Now I'll tell you that this week though in football was quite a crazy one. Did you happen to see the reports on Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, he's been playing with a torn left shoulder.
A partially torn labrum in his left shoulder.
But that shouldn't really harm him too much.
I was about to say it's his non-throwing arm. I mean, again, that's going to affect a little bit again with your mechanics and your throwing motion, but I mean, last one was a brutal game for him. He did not look great against the Vikings last week.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with him throwing the ball. It has nothing to do with him throwing the ball. He throws right-handed. He doesn't throw left-handed. I mean, come on. Give me a break.
No, I'm just saying he didn't look good. Maybe it affects a little bit, but not substantially. That's for certain.
I guess we don't want to give any credit to Minnesota, right?
No, Minnesota. Okay, Minnesota's a good team, but Jesus, man, oh man. I mean, come on, Baker. And I'll be honest. Kirk Cousins looked.
Yeah, well, they are what they are. I just want to say one thing. Bill Belichick is 8-12 without Tom Brady.
Oh, are you keeping a little running tab on that, Grump?
Yeah, I guess so. And the first year he was there, I think they were 5-11, and then they were 0-2 when Brady took over. So I mean, it's even worse than that. Here's the thing: it just seems like he doesn't win unless he has Tom Brady as a quarterback.
Grumpy. Well, you know what? It's worth holding that off a little bit. I mean, last year with Cam, didn't really do an excellent job. I mean, he was a stopgap guy, and Mac Jones is, a rookie quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see once they get a little bit more experience under the belt if we see that.
Well, so let's just continue to make more excuses. Okay,
I'm not making excuses.
Here's the thing. Bill Belichick, all the years Brady was there, no excuses. They lose a game, no excuses. As soon as he starts losing some games now, excuse after excuse. There were some people saying that Bill Belichick won that matchup on Sunday night.
Yes. I have been having people tell me that, oh, no, all the analysts agree that Bill Belichick won that matchup against Brady. I'm like, what?
Okay, all I know is the scoreboard said Tampa Bay won. I thought it looked – I mean, Tampa Bay, they're a dumb team, and their coaches are morons. Right from the top guy to all the coordinators, just dumb. I mean, Byron Leftwich is a dope as an offensive coordinator. I knew what plays they were running. After the first couple of drives, they wound up running 11 out of 14 first downs, and all of them from bunch formation. So you're setting yourself up for failure, right? How many drop balls? How many penalties? I mean, they're just poorly coached. I'm sorry, because they have plenty of talent. And, Mac Jones looked good. Well, that helps when you're only throwing the ball less than 10 yards. and Tampa's top 3 cornerbacks are out. I mean, Richard Sherman played 58 or 59 snaps, and he just came off the street to play for the first time in 15 months. So, I mean, come on.
Was it 50? I thought Richard Sherman played last year.
He only played 5 games last year before he got injured. He was out the rest of the year.
Fair enough, Grumpy. Look at him.
Well, maybe it's a year.
Was that?
Maybe it's a year then. 5 weeks.
Fair enough, though. Fair enough, Grumpy old man. That being said, yeah, I was shocked, though. Analysts giving, hey, Bill Belichick gets the victory on that one. He gets a check plus. He outdueled Tom Brady. Not so sure, right? I mean, like pouring down rainstorm. They still go in there. They win the game. And let's be honest here, too. Do we realistically think if they were to kick that field goal, Tom Brady wouldn't have had a chance to march down the field and still score with time remaining? I mean, that's what the guy's known to do.
2 timeouts, 54 seconds. It's automatic. Now the kicker might miss the kick, but he would have certainly given him right down. Suckup is okay. He missed a 36-yarder earlier in the game, which you can't miss. I'm sorry. I mean, and officiating was horrible. The Patriots got every single call in that game, every single one, starting from Jacoby Myers fumbling the ball after taking 3 steps and then reversing it, of all things. They call a fumble on field, and they reverse it. And, of course, the league office really can't explain why, when Arians, but Arians is a dope, too. I'm sorry.
Grump, you're not biased at all with that, right? Your shirt doesn't indicate.
No, I'm straight up. I'm straight up. No, I'm straight up. Not biased at all.
Oh man, I love it.
And I don't think Brady played well. I thought he was geeked up big time. And you can tell it was really meant something to him to win that game. And it did to Belichick too. I never saw Belichick so animated on the sideline. I mean, he was yelling at the guys, what to do on defense. It's like he never does that.
Look at it. That is a Super Bowl. That is this year's Super Bowl for Bill Belichick. There's no way in hell that team's making the postseason with the division they're in. I mean, no chance at all, right? I mean, the Bills are a guaranteed lock in those wild card spots. I mean, when Tua is healthy, the Dolphins are, they're definitely a formidable adversary. And, I can't see the Patriots squeaking their way into a wild card spot. So that was the game of the year for them.
They got killed by New Orleans the week before. The score was 28-13, but they were dominated, absolutely dominated. And then New Orleans comes out, goes back home, and gets beat by the winless Giants. I mean, they're just not good teams in that division right now. Buffalo's 3-1. They're absolutely going to win that division.
Yeah,
barring injuries, of course, and everybody else is 1-3. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at all the other divisions. I mean, the Patriots are not making the playoffs again.
Yeah, I mean, that division's weak, and so is the NFC East. Those are 2 of the weaker divisions in all of football.
They're real top-heavy. You got the Cowboys and the Bills.
Alexander's saying here, Grump, this week's game versus the Dolphins, I have a real deep feeling that this could be an upset for us, Grump. Don't count out the easy win. And TJ, the Dolphins will make the playoffs. Ooh, so sure about that, Alexander.
Jacoby Brissett is not a good NFL quarterback.
No.
He's just not. And the Dolphins right now are playing very poorly. Overall, they're not playing very well in any facet of the game. And it's surprising with the Brian Flores coach team, to be honest with you.
Well, wanted to go ahead and show you this here too, Grumpy old man. Now, there were a few moves, a few acquisitions made this week in the NFL, as well as a few released players. Shocked that players were released. But Stephon Gilmore traded to the Panthers for a 2023 6th-round pick. Man, oh man, you talk about the Panthers trying to do anything they can to be a legitimate contender and you to go further in. I mean, they're 3-1 in that NFC South. I think it's their division to lose at this point because the Falcons have looked anything but impressive. The Saints seem like Jekyll and Hyde, and
You think
the Redskins or the football team and the football team? I don't know. Well, I'm sorry, I forget about Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is going to go ahead and probably win that division, but I think the Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to make a wild card spot in that division. No,
it's early. Look at the teams they've beaten, though. Right? They got manhandled by Dallas, but they wound up beating. And Dallas is a good team. Improved defensively. Dak Prescott makes a huge difference. They're able to do everything on the offensive side of the ball that you need. Good wide receiver group. Like I said, defensively, still struggling.
Dallas, you said, is struggling?
defensively.
True.
They're not great
Trevon
defensively.
Diggs has what, an interception every game?
Okay, but they're not great defensively. They're not. They could be, get better by the end of the year. I expect that. Dan Quinn is the defensive coordinator, former coach of the Falcons, and he's doing his job there. I still don't think they're a great defensive team. Sorry. But you look at who the Panthers have played, right? They've played
The
New
Jets,
Orleans, the Jets,
the Jets.
and who was the first? Who else did they beat? I can't remember the other team they beat. Maybe Denver.
They played the Jets, the Texans.
Oh, the Texans. Okay, so I mean, they really haven't played anybody yet either. So
They have a really weak schedule though this year. I mean, you look at it, they've got the Eagles. They've got the Eagles, and again, the Eagles, I know they kind of went, blow for blow there against the Chiefs, but I don't look at the Eagles as a super powerhouse or a stout team. They've got the Vikings, who again look hit or miss at times. They've got the New York Giants. You've got the Falcons. Again, now the Patriots, the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals going to be a tough team to beat. I mean, just looking at out of the all the out of division games, you've got the Miami Dolphins as well as the Bills.
yeah, I mean, let's see what the Panthers are when they start playing some other teams.
And I'll tell you that I don't disagree, and that's one of those things too. I'm a big honk for Sam Darnold, but here, I mean, let's be honest, let's be reasonable. He's played some lesser competition to start the season. He looked a little rattled against the Dallas Cowboys defense. I know, you look at the numbers, you look at the stat book at the end of the game, a lot of those yards and a lot of those completions and touchdowns came in garbage time when they, had no chance of winning that game, when they were playing catch up in a significant way. So I'll be interested to see how, the trend of Sam Darnold continues there with this fresh, clean slate with the Carolina Panthers.
And that said, I think that's a good deal picking up Stephon Gilmore by the Panthers. He's from Carolina. He's from Rock Hill High School, which is right in South Carolina.
He played for the Gamecocks, didn't he?
I think so. Here's the thing. He's good. He's a little bit older. The reason why he was traded is because of his contract. And you're seeing a lot of stuff with the Patriots right now. Since Brady left, people want to get paid. It was always the excuse earlier, well, Brady gets this, we can't pay you that. Brady makes this, Brady gets this, you can't get that. And everyone towed the line. But now with Brady gone, people want their money. So what do the Patriots do? They don't want to pay anyone any cash. So what do? They move on from you. And think about this guy was Defensive Player of the Year in 2019, wound up playing, I think, 6 games last year, then had a quad injury. He's been ready to play since preseason. But he's
got to sit out a certain portion of games, though, still.
He's right. In week 7, he can return because they put him on the PUP list.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. He's been ready to play. The whole thing was a contract. He was going to come back and play out however many games. So it was like, because he gets the same full value of the contract, just over less games. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Let's see how it works out. It's a mismanagement of an asset by Bill Belichick.
That's one of those things in the NFL where really talented players, for whatever. And again, this is the only sport this happens in, and I mean the absolute only sport this happens in, where you can have a guy who performs and is an all-pro caliber player, and he can come off an all-pro season, be the best at his position, and he'll get traded for pennies on the dollar. Just always happens regarding draft capital. Always does. Rarely do you see that not happen. And I could point out the trades where I'm like, holy crap, a team had to give up a significant amount of draft capital to acquire a player like Amari Cooper. When that deal was done, everybody's like, oh my gosh, the Cowboys way overpaid for Amari Cooper. And I mean, he's done more than pan out for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they had to give up a first and additional picks.
You always have to look at the age. It's all about age in the NFL. He's 31 years old. Certainly his best years are behind him. But I think he's still really good. So, and I think it's a great deal for the Panthers. I mean,
I do too. Really a fantastic deal for the Panthers. Now, Christian McCaffrey said he expects to be back. He's optimistic that he'll be back this week. I mean, you got to talk about the guy who had the hamstring strain. I mean, that's a huge plus too. The Panthers getting back Christian McCaffrey, and that helps, I think, relieve some of that pressure off for Sam Darnold when you've got when healthy, one of the best backs in the league at the moment.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely. So that happened. And now, did you happen to hear that Jalen Smith got released?
He has not been performing in Dallas. They signed him to a big mega deal, and it wasn't worth it. They cut him. I mean, he's had multiple injuries. Even when he was drafted, he was coming off an extremely severe knee injury.
Well, that's why he slipped so far in the draft, is
Right.
because he was coming off that knee injury. The guy they said has top 5 talent, top 10 talent in the draft, but he was coming off that knee injury, and he slipped all the way to the second round. And again, I thought that the Cowboys got a steal when they selected him.
Yeah, and he certainly outperformed his contract. They signed him to the new deal. Hasn't been as good, so they let him go.
Okay. I think it's worth now. And again, like the comment section on this picture from Sports Center is freaking hilarious. And again, they're doing the guy wrong because I think Jalen Smith is a very talented player. I mean, if your team is hungry for a linebacker, throw your hand into the ring for Jalen Smith. Even though the production hasn't been there as much, the guy can play. We've seen it. I know he can play. But look at this. They're trying to, oh my goodness, Grumpy. They're trying to do anything they can to do Jalen Smith dirty. Trying to lunge to make a play when he's like 10 yards away, 10 yards away from the player, at least 5+ yards away from the wide receiver. And you see this all over the place. Now, good gracious. Honestly, I'm just shocked. I mean, they're trying to do this guy dirty, but I'll tell you, Jalen Smith, I still think has it. And again, if your team selects and picks up Jalen Smith as a free agent, I think you could do a lot worse at linebacker.
Well, he was released 2 days ago. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
He's still on the market. So there's not a whole lot of interest in him. Okay, Gilmore, they were going to release Gilmore 4:00 in the afternoon, and they were trying to work a deal. That's what they said, well, we're going to release him at 4:00. So instead of him going on the market, the Panthers made a deal for him. That's what happened. Belichick has certain teams that he likes to deal with. The Panthers are one of them, and he gave them first shot. That's why he went there. I heard the rumblings were that Gilmore wanted to go to the Packers, and Tampa Bay was thinking about him, but with just signing Sherman, with Williams getting hurt, this weekend, Dean out and Murphy Bunting out. Could you add Gilmore too? What happens when they come back scheme-wise? Tampa likes to run a lot of zone. Dumb, Todd Bowles. And Gilmore is much better in man coverage. So maybe it wasn't a great fit. Then you look at the salary cap numbers and them just signing Sherman. So who knows?
Jalen Smith officially signed with the Green Bay Packers today, 13 hours ago. So I knew there was a market for him. I mean, would it take a day until they're able to sign him? But again, the Packers, you look at another team that is going all in to try to do anything they can to win. Like a trade for the Packers for Stephon Gilmore makes sense, even at his advanced age. I mean, right, you got 1 year left of Aaron Rodgers, and then Devontae Adams is not going to sign a long-term deal with the Packers. So it could possibly bring up a little morale, saying, "Hey, we're doing everything we can to push us forward there for a legitimate run at the Super Bowl."
We'll see what happens. I don't think they're very good.
Fair enough, Grump. Fair enough.
And they got the loser at quarterback. That's a problem.
Aaron Rodgers, oh man, he looks odd. He's looking a little mangy. I don't know if it's the fact that he's got the longer hair and he's kind of got the scruffle on, but he looks mangy.
Yeah, maybe we should clean up his act.
Oh man. Alexander also saying the only way to beat Tampa is the defense has to come and play lights out, and Brissett has to play a flawless game. And he's also shocked Tampa didn't make more of a run at Stephon Gilmore.
Well, the Patriots, they had this deal on the table with Carolina a couple of weeks ago, but they thought they could maybe get more, but they couldn't, and they just took whatever they wanted. They didn't want him to get where they were releasing him for nothing, but in essence, a 6th-round draft pick in 2 years is nothing.
I was about to say, I mean, like those late picks, I mean, you just hope the guy can contribute in some capacity. Maybe you snag a late running back who, could maybe string together a successful career with your team and organization. But yeah, not all that much. Also, comment here from What a Film saying the Cowboys are pretty good. I predict they will win another Super Bowl before we get our T-shirts.
I don't know if that is going to happen.
We
did have a philosophical discussion last night on the T-shirts. TJ still wants to go with a design that would never sell, where I want to go with something that would sell, and TJ is holding strong.
Hold on. Is it that easy? is it that straightforward for you, Grumpy? There's no gray in that. It's just black and white for you.
Yes.
Oh, goodness gracious.
My product will sell, yours won't.
Alexander said, yeah, the Texans also way overpaid for Laramie Tunsil. That for certain they did. Look at a team that said, hey, we think we're one left tackle away from being legitimate, Super Bowl contenders. And then everything happened with Deshaun Watson. And oh man, you look at a team that could have been on the cusp of what could have been.
They were
great. They were a really good team.
Yeah, I'm not saying they were great, but they were certainly a top 10 team in the league without a doubt. I mean, top 3 maybe in the AFC, top 4.
Let's look at it 2 years ago too, right? I mean, Will Fuller, this is before Will Fuller was, I think, branded now as completely injury prone because he was just coming onto the scene. He was performing. You had DeAndre Hopkins who was performing. You had Clowney and JJ Watt performing at the healthy time period when they were doing well. You had a lot of really good and important pieces. David Johnson was healthy and towards the prime of his career. That team was a really it was a talented squad, and they thought, hey, we're one left tackle away. And then they said, oh God, the injuries started taking their toll. And now this Deshaun Watson issue, you watch the crumble of Rome happen overnight.
DeAndre Hopkins was on that team.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I mean, like I said, it was all with that power struggle with Jack Easterling, Bill O'Brien, the GM there, I think it was Rick. I want to say Rick Smith, but I don't remember exactly. I mean, and the team just fell apart just like that. And it's like, and that's what can happen. That's what can happen. And what a shame. I feel bad for the people of Houston, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it's an odd position because the team is just like prolonging the franchise's spot in limbo because I feel like you're not going to get anything for Deshaun Watson at this point. What the heck's going on with that investigation? We have no earthly idea. The longer things wait, maybe they're hoping things just get blown under the rug as they seem and tend to do if you wait it out long enough. They always look for the talent, right? Talent wins out, but man, oh man.
Yeah, like I said, they're light years away from being good. And here's the thing, Deshaun Watson's never going to play for them again.
That's correct.
Nick Caserio is now the general manager. They're just in limbo right now.
And wasn't it funny how quick the flip-flop happened with that? Because Deshaun Watson, everybody was worried because, Deshaun Watson's angry. He's upset because they didn't let him, be in charge of helping put his input in for the general manager. And then all these allegations pour out. And they're like, well, you originally were in position to where everybody was worried about what was going to happen with you. Now with the shoes on the other foot, everybody's like, oh, maybe not. You're looking like a toxic asset. That's for certain.
Hindsight being 2020, he probably wanted to hire a couple of hot masseuses to be the general manager.
Oh man, what a film said. It's getting cold. Better make them sweatshirts, TJ. Everybody loves a comfy sweatshirt, especially with a picture of the old man.
See, TJ, they know. The people know. They know.
Oh man. Yeah, and then Alexander. And Alexander.
It's just that simple.
Yeah, and Alexander also said, yes, Grumpy, the Islanders were postponed because the damn Devils decided to pay Dougie Hamilton instead of paying the damn electric bill. And you guys need to see the fans down here about if the Dolphins get Watson. A couple people said they would boycott the Dolphins, and if the season, if the Dolphins get him.
I don't understand that mentality. And here's the thing, people will say that, but as soon as he throws 3 touchdown passes a game and leads them on a game-winning drive, they're all going to be behind him because that's the way fans are. They have moral stand. If you're losing, if you're winning and producing for a team, they could care less.
It's the same thing I look at it with. Have you seen the ratings overall for the NFL? They're like, the ratings are up 9% this year. It's 17%. Was it?
17.1% from last year.
The ratings are up 17.1% since last year, ladies and gentlemen. This is fantastic. Look at all the right? You talked about, what went down last year. People were boycotting due to, the flag and whatever. They were boycotting for a plethora of reasons. And what happens, right? 1 year elapses, things start to change. My focus is on somewhere else. And people say, let's just go back to watching football again. That's why you see a 17.1% increase. So, if you wait around long enough, people forget that type of stuff.
I think the kneeling thing hurt the NFL. But like with most of these most of these things that happen after a while, they just kind of stop caring about it. Like the players don't kneel anymore, so they don't. The NFL, and the NFL was pumping it up for some reason, right? Why? I mean, you see your fans don't want to see that. You continue to highlight it. It just pisses people off. Your ratings go down. They stop doing it. They don't highlight that stuff anymore. The people come back. It's what's good for business. I mean, I never understand it. It's a business first and foremost. It's a business more than anything else.
Well, I want to show you this because we have one of our favorite segments, a fan favorite segment, Grumpy Old Man, called Fights in the Stands, Grumpy. We're bringing back some fights in the stands, that's for certain. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Now, does it shock you? Number one, this is one of the first times we've featured a Philly audience, and I can tell you one thing: we've got a fight between a Philly fan and a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs. Grump, I want your preliminary expectations going into this bout because
it's in Philadelphia, so Mr. Chief better watch himself. I could see some bad stuff. And now, is it this number guy here, number 60 something, and then number 25?
So this is filmed. We're only catching about like the tail end of it. But I just wanted to get your opinion before we started because it's pretty obvious. The entire fight is one-sided. But I wanted to get your opinion there on what you anticipated. Hey, Mr. Philly or Mr. Chiefs, who do you have going into this one, Grump?
Mr. Philly, because he's got everybody else in the stands who have absolutely no problem at all beating up an opposing team.
I was about to say, and you got Philadelphia Eagle. Philadelphia fans are the scum of the earth. That's certain, Grump. So I'll let you watch this, man. Oh man, and I think there's a lady who gets pushed or punched too by Mr. Eagles, but I'll let you watch this.
Let's see.
Oh goodness gracious!
It doesn't look like there's a lady.
gotta hold on.
Oh.
I'll let you watch it all the way through.
And then now is that security guard?
Yes.
Because this guy's landing haymakers with the security guard all over him. Oh, look at this guy. What's his shirt?
Let me go ahead and lower this. So we'll watch it here again. This is a lady who is trying to protect her man who is getting pummeled. Mr. Eagles, we tune in, is pummeling the hell out of Mrs. Kansas City Chiefs' husband, boyfriend, whatever that is. Mr. Eagles is pummeling the hell out of him.
And boom! He's only throwing one hand.
Punch her. He did knock her down, but I'm happy at least he didn't punch her in the face. And look at the Eagles fan right here. He's like, oh shit, look at this. Going to an Eagles game. This is what we get treated to. I got my beer in one hand. I get a little entertainment on the field and also some entertainment in the stands. Here we see right off the bat, the security guard is already there. So this is
kicking the Chief guy when he was down. He was kicking the Chief guy. But here's the thing I like best about Mr. Eagle. His shirt is totally ripped open. And he's just using one hand because these other guys hold it. And he's just hammering with one, just with the left. He's like feeding them lefts. And then when he's done, he just goes back, gets another beer, and sits in his seat because that's the way it is in Philadelphia.
Oh.
Nobody let him away. I just walked away.
I did think that was odd. So we've got this guy's... He's excited that this lady's like, holy crap, I can't believe this lady just got pushed. Oh, man. And you got the Chiefs fan, too. He's
like, puncher. He looked like he healed her to the face. She was down like a ton of bricks.
You got the guy, the Chiefs fan over here videotaping. He's like, holy crap, this is my first time in Philly.
Hey, Dad.
And the Eagles fans over here, you could see him. He's not videotaping because this is just an average Sunday sporting event in Philadelphia. But, Mr. Chiefs over here, he is exposed to the wild in Philadelphia. That's for certain.
He said, hey, Mom and Dad, you're going to be on One Star tonight. And he's filming it.
Hold on. Did you say One Star?
Yeah, One Star.
It's World Star.
Whatever. World Star, One Star. I don't know what it is.
Oh, Jesus, man. Oh, goodness, Grumpy. It's a World Star. Oh, man. I was hoping. Oh, Grumpy. Oh, okay. You almost got it. One star. Okay. So we got the guy over here. He's like, stop that.
Boom. He is his face is stopping up. Look, it's just one hand.
You see the fan right here, number 90 something. The Eagles fan's like, I have to hold this maniac back from pummeling everybody in his way because who knows what was said. Now he's all of a sudden on a rampage. He's already got his hair and put back there with his bandana, his green bandana for the Eagles, and he's literally just punching with his left hand. That could be his weak hand for all we know, and he's still going over there like a savage. And this security guard, I don't know what you would do in this situation, but I kind of feel bad for Mr. Chiefs over here. As a security guard, he's just how many more times is he going to let this maniac Eagles fan pummel the hell out of him?
You know what he's saying?
Worried?
I'm getting paid minimum wage. I'm not going to get hit.
He's not getting paid minimum wage.
How much do you think those security guards make? They don't make anything.
Okay. Well, I'm sure he makes more than minimum wage. That being said, especially in Philly, Grumpy. That being said, I mean,
$60 a game, maybe. $60 a game, maybe.
And maybe Mr. Security Guard too is worried that, hey, if I actually stop him from pummeling this Chiefs fan, I'm probably going to be the next target. So I need to try to do anything I can to coax him into relaxing a little bit. But I mean, the security guard's there, and Mr. Eagles is throwing, I want to say, an additional 7 or 8 punches, and Mrs. Chiefs, you could tell she's definitely not battle hardened. That is for certain. She's throwing that punch with her phone in her hand. So I'm going to say it did very little to deter Mr. Eagles.
Do you want to know what Mr. and Mrs. Chief did that aggravated this guy? They wore their team colors into Philadelphia Veterans Stadium. That's all they did, because that's all it takes to get beat up in Philadelphia. Here's the thing. You should know that going in. You should know that going in. You can't go into, I don't know where the Flyers play now, but it used to be the Spectrum. You couldn't go in there wearing the visiting team's colors because you get beat up. That's just the way it was.
Wells Fargo Center.
You go into Madison Square Garden, into the cheap seats, you're wearing another team's uniform, you're going to get beat up. That's just the way it is. You don't come into our house. And that's what happened with Mr. and Mrs. Chief. They came in there with Junior, and they took a beating. You get what you get.
Oh, man.
Know your audience.
You get what you get. Oh, look at that, Grump. Mr. Eagle goes wild just because people are wearing.
Let's play the whole thing, because I wanted to see the whole thing.
We watched the whole thing, and now we're breaking it down slowly but surely.
I don't need.
You're right. I do think that's, and he starts pummeling back on again. It looked like he was going to ease off, and now here we go. She looks like she's actually taking control of the situation. She's throwing people aside, looking like she's ready to get in the front line.
She's doing nothing. She's TJing the whole situation. Everyone stop. Everyone stop.
He's coming in after all the after everything's starting to out, coming. Break up the fight. I still cannot believe he's still throwing haymakers on this guy who's just completely collapsed on the ground. And he's like, all right, now he stepped in front. But you're right. Look at this. This maniac over here, this savage. I'll let you listen to this portion. He's still smiling and laughing his ass off like, oh, man, Philly, I love it. I love this. He's got a smile from ear to ear on his face. Oh, yeah, Johnny's crazy when he gets some beer in him, especially when he sees another team supporting, in our Philly section. He goes insane.
Nice track, and he just walks right away. That's it.
I'm still shocked there was not a man, oh man. Hopefully they gave him a free T-shirt or something like that from getting absolutely harassed in the stands like that. But I am shocked, right? You have to figure there's multiple security guards, and on the other side, you have to feel like there was somebody coming to escort Mr. Eagle, but he looks like he is walking free out of the stadium.
I wonder if Mr. Eagle left the house with his shirt like that.
I was about to say, with a ripped shirt like that, it's going to be tough for Mr. Eagle to hide his identity. He's like a walking target, I'm sure.
I will tell you one thing. Nobody's going to mess with Mr. Eagle.
Oh, man. That is for certain. Let me see what's going on over here. I'm very interested to see what they're doing. Maybe they're
Nothing else is going on.
Here we go. Look at this. As all this chaos is breaking out, you see the huge fights over here. Many people are looking. We've got the family right here, maybe boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife. They're getting a little selfie at the game as this chaos and pandemonium is breaking out. Everybody's looking.
They're videotaping just from another.
No. They're getting a selfie. You see how they're looking and they're smiling and they've got the little background. That is exactly what they're doing. Okay. I know you don't do any of the social media stuff, but they're getting a selfie as all the craziness and Mr. Eagle is pummeling under individuals.
Okay. It's over. It's over now. It's over.
Oh,
we've spent enough time on this fight.
Oh, man. And Alexander said it's a few more. I appreciate Alexander. We're going to have to go ahead and look at those other ones at another time, because about one crazy fight.
Here's the thing. If you were faster, instead of nanoseconding every single frame, if we just rolled through it, we could get a whole bunch of them. Thank you, Alexander, by the way. A whole bunch of them at one time. We don't need to talk 45 minutes on one 10-second fight. You drag it on way too long.
You don't understand what people.
I do understand. When I get bored, guess what? It's gone on too long.
Oh,
I'm going to get the scissor out for you, because when you start going to a clip, let's go to the next fight.
You get a little bored, Grumpy.
What?
You getting a little bored over there, Grumpy?
You bored me when you started nanoseconding and talking about this and look at the selfie. No, who cares? I could care less about that. I just want to see the guy get beat up and then him walk away and nobody let him away. He just probably went back, got another beer, sat down in his seat, and beat somebody up later in the game.
Oh, look at you, Grumpy. You get a little frustrated over there. A little frustrated, Grumpy. A little fussy over there, Grump. That being said, one last thing talking about football. Federal law enforcement and the DEA conducted a raid on the Washington football team's facility last week. Teams say their head trainer, Ryan Vermillion, was placed on administrative leave due to an ongoing criminal investigation that is unrelated to the team. So, in the Washington Post, DEA investigation for the Washington trainer is related to disbursement of prescription drugs without being licensed to do so.
Who cares?
Well, the reason I brought this up, I actually know the Vermillion family. I know the children. I went to school with them when I was young. So I was just like, oh my goodness gracious. I'm like, it's crazy to see something like that happen. And again, this is odd. We had talked about how last week Robin Leonard had made some claims like that. And now, unrelated to those claims, you're seeing something like this possibly popping up there.
And what did I say last week? It happens all the time. Every team does it at some level. It happens. Why? Because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and those guys are going to play. So whatever they got to do to get them on the field, they're going to do. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. You enjoy watching those things. You enjoy watching the NFL every Sunday. You enjoy watching the NHL. You enjoy watching basketball and baseball. Well, I'm going to tell you what. That's the underside of all those sports. Those guys have to get out there and play every single day. It doesn't surprise me at all. Not at all.
Fair enough.
It doesn't surprise me. You're probably in on it, I think. You know these people. You just
yeah, that's right. I'm the big leader on that, Grumpy. You're right.
Guilt by association.
Oh, looky there. Alexander was laughing. What a film said, great fan fight, TJ. What a beast. And of course, another ass crack. Laughing my ass off.
That's the best thing. When a guy's gotten beaten unconscious and his pants are hanging down. I felt bad for him. He looked like he was an older gentleman. He shouldn't have wore the Chiefs gear into Philadelphia. That's a rookie mistake. I'm sorry.
On the 10 commandments of Philadelphia fans, if you see another fan wearing an opposing t-shirt, that is like, I shalt smite them.
Yeah, unless you're going in with like 7 or 8 Eagles fans and it's one person wearing that and they have a strong base where they can save you from the other people, you're going to get beat up. That's just the way it is. Don't wear the other team's colors in our stadium. Sorry, don't do it.
Oh man, it's pure craziness and chaos, that is for certain. Grumpy old man, it's insane. Again, a lot of crazy stuff happened in the NFL. Now I wanted to show you this now, Grumpy. MLB hot in action, that is for certain. The Dodgers found a way to win last night. I want to show you this clip. I am not sure if the announcer on this clip was drunk, taking a little bit too much to drink before the game, but I'll let you listen to this call and I want your opinion on it. This was in the American wild card game. I'll let you listen to it, Grump, and I want your reaction.
Okay.
The pitch to Stanton. There goes. Deep left. It is high. It is far. That is gone out of the ballpark. A Stantonian home run. Now, what did I do wrong? What did I see wrong? He's at first base.
That's John Sterling. He's 73 or 74 years old right now. He thought it went out. It was, I guess, off the top of the green monster. And here's the thing. Stanton's been hitting. He hit a home run last weekend or 2 weeks ago out of the stadium. Totally out of the stadium.
I'm just saying, like again, maybe I don't know if he was just getting caught up in the moment. That's for certain what could have happened. But I mean, as soon as the ball is like bouncing and playing, you see a fielder immediately throwing it back in, and you see Stanton staying on first base. I probably like, maybe I missed something.
You got to get more. You got to get more than a single out of a shot off the wall. Though.
Did you see Stanton watching the ball and not running down the baseline?
I didn't need to, because if you only get a single off a ball you hit that high off the wall, that means you're not hustling.
Yeah, I saw that too.
That's why, honestly, that's why the Yankees are out. That's why they're out.
Now you think Boone's going to be gone, right?
Should be. Cashman as well. They need to rebuild that team. The home run, everything, and that's the way Major League Baseball is going, right? Home run, strikeout. Even last night, you had St. Louis and the Dodgers. The guy at second base swinging for the fences. Just put the ball in play. With a shift, go the other way, knock the run in. You win the game, St. Louis. Everything's swinging for the fences. I'm sorry. They've made the analytics geeks have made baseball impossible to watch. Impossible.
That bad?
It's worse than that. It's worse than that. Starting, Max Scherzer he and Wainwright were both pitching lights out yesterday. 2 times through the lineup, out they come. What? And it's a bullpen game? What are you kidding me? Scherzer probably went the whole way, and the same thing with Wainwright. They've both been great all year.
Yeah, they've been great all year. That's for certain, grumpy old man. And again, I'll tell you, I'm kind of shocked as well that Scherzer got out or was taken out earlier on. That is for certain. But it's the Dodgers, right? We talked about it, right? Survive and advance. Everybody had the Dodgers rated very highly, and again, surviving and advancing always the most important portion.
And now they play San Francisco. First time ever.
Bloodbath. That's going to be a bloodbath of a series. I firmly believe that.
2 best teams in baseball this year, right?
Definitely.
108 wins, 107 wins in the regular season. That's pretty darn good.
Yes, it is, Grumpy. That's for certain. Now, shifting gears a little bit here, Grumpy, did you happen to see the news in the NHL? The news with Evander Kane. Did you happen to see that, Grump?
Yeah, the kid just can't seem to do anything right now.
I was about to say, man, oh man, the guy just can't seem to stay out of trouble. That is for certain. There is an NHL investigation regarding the San Jose Sharks forward Evander Kane over allegations that he violated the league COVID-19 protocols and creating and submitting a fake vaccination card.
Okay. If that's the case, he's got to be suspended. And I'm not you know how I am. If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. But man, you can't lie and say you were when you're not. Especially with, what they're trying to do in all sports leagues to cut down on positive tests for COVID. I just think you can't do that. It's a mistake. He's been making a lot of mistakes this offseason.
Well, I mean,
maybe he didn't do it. I'm not going to bury him yet. But if he did, man, there's something wrong with him right now.
You know how they say all press is, all press in some capacity is good, good publicity. I'd happen to disagree with that fundamental statement just with what's been happening with Evander Kane this offseason, because I mean, you started off there with the estranged wife and the allegations on betting on, sporting events on NHL games and games that he was playing in and has played in. Yikes, not good for the public image. And now you have this that, you're being accused possibly of submitting a fake vaccination card. Oh man. Bad news. 2 bad strikes for Evander Kane this offseason.
Yeah, they say all publicity is good publicity, even bad. The whole thing, I don't think he was looking for publicity, so I don't think it really pertains to him. He wasn't looking, hey, look at me, Evander Kane. He wasn't trying to do that. It just found him.
Man, oh man, I'll tell you, it's It's something else. I mean,
Well, let's
hopefully it's not.
see.
Hopefully it's not true. Again, these are just allegations. Hopefully, it comes back not true. I don't want to see anybody who's self-sabotaging himself or going through these issues to where he just can't figure out the way to do things right, because the guy is very talented. There's never been a question of the talent with Evander Kane. And looking back on it, this might be a person they're creating a 30 for 30 on years in advance. You could almost pencil this guy into being a 30 for 30 just because out of all the different twists and turns his career has had in the NHL, right? With the gambling originally, and people didn't like him, with the stacks of money. That was originally a big whoa flag there in Winnipeg. And then you've got, him filing for bankruptcy last year, the allegations of the sports betting, the fake vaccination card. It seems like it's one thing after the other.
They won't do anything like that till his career's over.
No, I'm saying later on. I feel like
Maybe.
it's going to be something that he's going to be a prime candidate. ESPN, take the idea, run with it, whatever. He's going to be a prime candidate for a 30 for 30 where he'll get a chance to explain, bit by bit, issue and situation by situation, because there's a lot of them and there's not much context that we all know. And it's always good to hear both sides of the story.
Okay.
That's for certain, grumpy old man. That is for certain. Now, I wanted to ask you, did you hear what happened in the world of soccer today?
France beat Belgium 3-2.
That happened for certain. Did you hear what happened with Newcastle?
They were bought by another Saudi team, or
They were bought by that Saudi oil company conglomerate. So just to put things into perspective, how wealthy this ownership group is of Newcastle, they bought and they finally got everything completed and finalized with Newcastle United, and they're in the process right now of trying to buy Inter Milan in the Serie A. Just to put things into perspective of how rich the owners are of Newcastle United, right? Man City originally got they always get branded as the oil money company or the oil money team. $260 billion is what their worth is. Holy crap, Grumpy! You add up every other team in the Premier League's value and net worth of all these owners, and it doesn't even come close to equaling what the Newcastle United owners are worth.
I thought Manchester City was close in those numbers. No,
not even here. It is right. I'm not sure if you can see that, Grumpy.
23 billion. I'm sorry.
Manchester City had 23 billion. Newcastle United 260 billion.
Okay, what's going to happen? Because now you're seeing all this Saudi or all this oil money come in all the other leagues. It's killing competitive balance. They're going to have a salary cap. That's what's going to and it will wind up happening eventually. That's what's going to happen. You wonder why teams wanted to do a Super League? This is the reason why. Because you have owners just buying poor clubs, middling clubs, and they have so much financial might that they can just buy anybody they want because there's no restrictions. Financial fair play is an absolute joke. They're going to have some type of salary cap.
And they can create this, and you're talking about business venture. They can create this. I mean, they purchased a club, I believe, for £305 million.
And they get around the financial fair play by having other businesses that they own pay these players, other type of deals so that they get the money up. So it's not really supposedly coming out of their pocket. Well, it's a shell game they like to play.
It's not necessarily that. Like, they could say their gains that they have, they offset, you have to have a certain amount you can pay per players per the amount of profit the company's had. But if your oil company is doing extremely well, technically the company owns it. So I could say, hey, our company in general is still reporting profits of XYZ. So I can afford to pay a player way out the wazoo, and I can afford to send a whole bunch of money through the transfer market is how it works, Grump. But I'll tell you, I think you're right. I think you're onto it, because you talk about the competitive fair play, and people are throwing the jokes out there. I can't wait for this year's winter transfer window and next year's summer transfer window. We're going to hear a whole bunch of players saying, "Oh yeah, I've always dreamt and grew up dreaming about playing for Newcastle United," because the money they're going to be throwing around is going to be crazy.
Their fans should be ecstatic until the rules change, and they will have to eventually change the rules. It'll happen.
Oh, for certain. I'm telling you, they are absolutely elated. They're elated. They're dancing in the streets. You have people in Newcastle are dressing up like sheiks and like Saudi sheiks and like from wealthy oil money. And they're dancing around the streets in similar garb of what you're seeing here of the new owner there for Newcastle United. And you just go, oh, okay. But they're doing that in the street. I mean, they're elated, they're happy. And if you're a Newcastle fan, I would be too, right? You talk about the big six. It's got to be the big seven now with Newcastle, correct?
Not yet.
Really?
They haven't done anything yet. They're gonna, it'll be a couple of years. It took Manchester City a few years before they were at the top of the heap. You just don't throw a whole bunch of guys on a team and it works right away. You don't know, and they're not going to do anything. They're not. No one's available in the winter. You can get maybe futures contracts for next year, but not this year.
Oh, you can get players in the winter transfer window. That's for certain.
Yeah, not really. Not anybody worth anything.
Oh man, I tell you, you can get players usually not as good. That being said, man, oh man, Grumpy,
nobody's contracts run out in January. They run out.
They're going to get a transfer. It's not free transfers, Grump. They're going to pay to get a player to transfer in.
Okay,
they have $230 billion. That's what I'm hinting.
They're not going to get anybody worth anything because the teams that are contending for Champions League or for league crowns, they're not going to be offloading their best players in February and January. It's just not going to happen.
Well, the teams that have not done
they're bought by an investment fund.
It's the investment. Well, yeah, it's the investment fund for certain. But I tell you, it's odd. It is odd for certain. Again, the net worth kind of ranges. I think the 260 billion was a safe estimate. Now this one is labeling it 320 billion. I mean, whatever it is, it's substantially more.
It's a lot of money. That's
yeah, and you look at this is compared to every single other of the 10 richest football owners. This is not even just EPL. This is in all the sports. I'd be interested to see if you look at all the top 5 leagues. I'm sure the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund happens to be worth probably more than all of the other combined top 5 leagues.
Maybe.
Man, oh man, Grumpy, it is an odd time, and Newcastle United fans will be celebrating. You're going to be going off a high. It doesn't even matter. You could lose every single game if you're a Newcastle fan for the next month. You'll still be elated about this new ownership and the money that they could pour into this team.
I believe it.
Absolutely, Grumpy. Absolutely. Well, Grump, we're right here about at the end of today's podcast. What else you want to say before we wrap things up, Grump? Because remember, we do this podcast every single Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, the best way to make sure you don't miss out on any of the action is by subscribing on YouTube, liking on Facebook, and following on Twitter.
I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't. From TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, go Tom Brady versus Miami. Sorry, Alexander. But I'm root for my boy, TB12.
Well, thank you again, Grumpy Old Man, and thank you everybody who tuned in to the podcast and live stream. We look forward to going live here this upcoming Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Alexander saying, great job, guys. Thank you, Alexander. And What a Film saying, love you guys. I appreciate all the love and support, guys. We really do. And thank you again for tuning in, and thank you, Grumpy